Watching this video, you have already typed your introductory paragraph, your three-body paragraphs, and your concluding paragraph. You're beginning your revisions. The part of your essay that I want for you to spend the most time revising is your explanation in each of your body paragraphs. Let's take a look at the rubric. So if you receive a meeting standard on the rubric for your explanation, it means that you provide the reader with a clear understanding of the issue. So after reading your explanation, I have a pretty good understanding as the reader of your topic sentence. In your explanation, you have described your evidence and you've included details that further explain the topic sentence. So not only have you described your evidence, but you've given me some additional details about the science, about the country, about the people who live there that help me understand that impact or that way that your country is addressing or adapting. Your explanation is 4 to 6 sentences. Here's the difference with exceeding standard. If you get an exceeding standard, it means that as a reader, after reading your explanation, I have a deeper understanding of the issue. You also are showing me that you have a deeper understanding of the topic or issue. You are showing me that you, as a writer, clearly understood your research. So not only have you read a paragraph or two about the issue and grabbed a piece of evidence, but you've really read several texts about this topic and you can understand it. You really could explain it. The difference with advanced is that you are showing me an expert level understanding of the topic. After reading your paragraph, I as the reader could easily explain the topic. So if you want advanced, you need to show me that you're an expert, that you not only have read a text or two, but you have read several texts about this issue. You really understand the impact and how it's affecting your country and the people that live there. Or you really understand the way your country is addressing or adapting and why that's important to them that they make that choice. Here's the difference between someone who gets a meeting standard on their explanation and advanced. Someone who gets a meeting standard on the explanation, if we sat down and talked about their topic, we could talk for maybe a minute or two about their topic. If I sat down with someone who got an advanced, we could talk for probably a half an hour. They have so much more understanding of their topic, and they've really shown me that through their explanation than the person that gets the meeting standard. The meeting standard person does understand their issue, but not to the same extent. So if you want advanced, you really need to show me that you're an expert in your explanation. So how do we do this? How do I help the reader understand my topic sentence? Let's look at an example. I've drafted some helpful questions for you. You're going to see some helpful questions for both if I'm writing about an impact or if I'm writing about a way that my country is addressing or adapting. So let's first look at an impact. We're going to use a fictional setting, the Shire, where hobbits live, and we're going to write a paragraph about how droughts affect the Shire. So I'm just writing my explanation here. So my first helpful question is, how does climate change cause this impact? I'm going to explain the science. So climate change leads to rising temperatures and less precipitation. Droughts are where there is little rain for months and months. These temperature increases cause these periods of little to no rain. And I'm going to say these temperature increases cause periods of little to no rain in the Shire. Okay, so I've explained the science to you. I'm really explaining how climate change actually causes that. So my second question, if the impact happens, whether that's floods or droughts or species extinction, then what? What are the other problems that it will cause? So for the people in the Shire, this means this will affect their ability to grow crops. Times of drought, or let's say periods without rain, will dry out the soil, which makes it hard for plants to grow. Also, rain is needed to water the crops and fill rivers and other water sources for growing. Okay, so I'm explaining the other effects of this impact, right? So if this happens, if droughts happen, what happens then? So now I want to explain, what do I know about the people of this country that makes this a big deal? So one thing that I know about hobbits is that hobbits are farmers. And let's make sure that that my reader knows that hobbits are the people living in the Shire. I guess they're not quite people, are they? But we're going to say that for now. We can say beings. Living in the Shire. Okay, so hobbits are farmers. They depend on farming for almost all of their food. Okay. I also know that hobbits love food and eat constantly. Okay, so here's my final question. How will this affect the individual people living in my country? This is a huge deal. And let's name what it is. So droughts are a huge deal in the Shire because hobbits will not survive. No, they'll probably survive. They probably won't be very happy though. Will become more and more sad with less and less food. Okay, you can see this is, I don't even know, I don't want to count the amount of sentences, but we probably wrote like 7 or 8 sentences using these 4 questions. So you can go back now and use these 4 questions, whether you're writing a meeting or exceeding standard body paragraph or whether you're writing advanced, to help yourself further explain your topic sentence and your evidence. Okay, let's look at an example for if I'm writing about a way that my country is addressing or adapting to climate change, because I think that this is one of the paragraphs that is the hardest to do explanation. So I'm still going to be talking about the Shire, but I want to talk about how the Shire is, so this paragraph is going to be about how the Shire or hobbits are raising awareness about climate change. So the first thing I want to do is I want to answer the question, what does this actually mean? So I'm going to say that hobbits are leaving the Shire in record numbers to go tell other groups about climate change. Hobbits are holding conferences and speaking at events about how devastating climate change can be on communities like theirs. Okay, so now my second question, why is it essential that my country does this? What will happen if they don't? Hobbits know that this is essential to their survival. if they don't raise awareness, and I already say raise awareness, that's my topic sentence, so I'm going to say if they don't let people know about climate change, then other groups will not or might not act as quickly to stop burning fossil fuels or reduce carbon emissions. If nothing is done, climate change could devastate the Shire. So it's really important that they start speaking out about the impacts on their community. Okay, how will it impact other countries? So I might talk about here how this might impact other people groups. So I might say something like hobbits are also helping other people or other groups understand how it can impact them. This is an issue that will affect other countries who depend on farming for food. Okay, again, I want you to notice that just by answering these questions, I can really write lots. Not all that I wrote here is great writing, but I want you to notice that with using these helpful questions that I am really just explaining further. I'm helping the reader fully understand the topic or the issue. The last thing I want you to think about in revising your explanation is I want you to think about explaining your evidence. So here's a piece of evidence about the Shire and how climate change will affect the Shire. The Shire will experience, I wrote this evidence, so I make mistakes. The Shire will experience 30% less rain than normal this past year and produce significantly less crops like wheat, barley, and hops. Okay, so if I didn't explain this, I might say something like, if I did a terrible job explaining this quote, I might say something like, less rain means that they'll have less crops and less food, right? But if I want to really explain it, I might talk about how less rain not only means that the Shire will have less food, but it means that, but it will affect their happiness. Hobbits love beer. So don't drink it. You're not old enough to drink beer, but hobbits do. They love beer and they drink it all the time. And I don't know if you know this, but wheat and hops are the key ingredients in beer. Droughts could devastate or destroy the crops needed to produce this drink that makes hobbits really, really happy. Okay, so kind of a silly explanation, but I want you to see that I'm not just letting the quote speak for itself. I'm really explaining the details that you as a reader need to know to fully understand the explanation or the textual evidence. Okay, at this point, I want you to go back and I want you to use the helpful questions to write more detailed explanation.